Welcome to As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. Today we welcome James Clark, vocalist for Kill the Lights, to the podcast. Kill the Lights released Death Melodies last week on Fearless Records. James talks about moving to America to play soccer, staying to pursue music, the formation of Kill the Lights, being honest and saying something meaningful lyrically, and more. Thanks for listening to As the Story Grows. You can find links to the podcast Discord server, mailing list, and Patreon page in the show notes or at asthestorygrows.com. And if you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend who you think would enjoy it. Enjoy today's conversation with James from Kill the Lights. Yeah!
Yeah. How's your Monday going?
Good. My kids are off school, so I just have been watching television.
How old are your kids?
9 and 7. Yeah.
So I have a 10, a 7, and a 4-year-old right now.
Man.
So
that's fun.
Good times. So you got a third grader, a fourth grader, and a first grader?
Yep. Third and first. Yep.
Nice. Good times.
Yeah.
Where are you based out of?
DC.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I got a good friend that is the head of IT for World Bank in DC.
Oh, wow.
It's a crazy job, but
yeah,
he's out there. We're actually talking about going out for a weekend here over spring break and seeing him. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah,
it's always fun. Yeah. You meet people in DC and they have like crazy jobs, and you're just like, they're just normal people, but you're just like, you are like, powerful.
My buddy, he's had a crazy dream. He's actually, I grew up in England, from England. I've been in the US for 20 years now, but we grew up together. So he was in Australia, then he went to New Zealand. He was a diplomat there and kind of ran some crazy stuff over in New Zealand, and then got hired for this role of head of IT for the whole of the World Bank. And so we're chatting one day, and my wife says to him, well, what did you like, for example, what did you do last week? He goes, well, I provided $290 million of funding to Namibia. We're like, oh, all right. Pretty interesting week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and that's a standard week. That's a standard week for him. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Good time.
Anyway.
What brought you from England to the States?
So I actually played soccer. So I had a scholarship. So I did a year of high school and then went to college. But then the music kind of. So it's funny. I was going to come for a semester and just kind of check it out, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And then I went back to England for 6 months, but then I came back to college, and I'm like, well, I joined a band. I'm like, well, we'll see how this is going back a while ago. See how this goes. If we get a legitimate show before I'm supposed to go back, I'll stay. It was literally come down to that. And, yeah, we had I could age myself a little bit, but it was when Mudvayne had their first album out, and we secured dates on their tour. This is a random thing, and then we got picked up by the management. Next thing you know, we got hosted by their A&R guy at Sony, and so it was just like this crazy, like, oh, I guess I'm staying then. You know what I mean? And then fast forward, and here we are. So
that's crazy. Was that Throw the Fight?
No shit. This is going back before that. I was in a rap rock band back in the day.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm really aging myself, but yeah, Throw the Fight was post that. I've been in a few bands of these. I was even in bands in England going back. When I was 15 years old, you know what I mean? So it kind of all started then.
Yeah.
And it's been a musical journey of sorts.
That's rad. Did you ever think like, man, what would have happened if I had just stuck on the soccer path? Or you just like, nah, like music was so...
I don't think I was ever quite good enough for the soccer thing, but yeah, the music, I don't know, I always had a passion for the music thing. It's just great. It's always been an outlet for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like a lot of people, there's like they have this like sports and music, and then like one ultimately wins out. Like people discover music or just get in their first band. They're like, yeah, I'm fucking done with sports, right? Like,
yeah. It was just, you just kind of pick your battle on what you have time to do. And like I say, music had always been my passion. It was always my outlet, creatively and mentally and all that good stuff,
Yeah. What got you into music?
Actually, it was interesting. There's some kids in high school who were in a kind of a band, and I was kind of like hanging around with them, and I started going to kind of some live shows with them, and it was just such a good time. You know what I mean? Like it was they were kind of part of the hardcore scene in England at the time, so it was really underground stuff we were hitting up, and it was really like a kind of, it was just really just it was a cool time. It was a cool place to meet people, and your music scene was super cool, and you felt part of something, you know what I mean? And I just, and the guys that I went to high school with were kind of looking for a singer, and next thing you know, I'm kind of auditioning, and I had no freaking idea, you know what I mean? But it kind of worked out, and I think through the lack of anybody else willing to try out, I got the gig.
Nice.
And then that started the next, 20 years of my life,
Yeah. Did you have any experience doing any sort of singing or performing before that, or is it just like that, like bravado of when you're young, where you're just like, I could do it?
I literally never. I didn't know if I could sing or not, to be honest, at that time, and obviously grew up in England. We didn't really have like kind of like in the US where you'd have kind of like choir practice, choir stuff in high school, all that kind of, the music. It's really, there is no option for really musical stuff so much in England in school so much. I think I tried out to do like violin or something in elementary school, and I quickly got denied to do that, and that was the end of my instrumental career very quickly at like 7 years old. So that was about it, so it was just it was a guessing game as to whether actually it sounded good or not. But literally, I think it was like there was nobody else to try out, so there you go. Give him a shot, you know what I mean? And surprisingly, it worked out okay. So, and with that first little band, we got some pretty good shows and a couple little tours here and there, and started there.
Nice. What was that transition like to the United States and trying to reacclimate yourself to a new music scene? Was it difficult?
It was. I think as a whole, I was an 18-year-old moving to the U.S. on my own. I literally had a donated futon mattress that I was gifted. I had a bicycle, I didn't have a car. I lived on $50 a week. That's pretty, I was roughing it pretty good, and I had a little painting job that I would bike anywhere from 2 to 15 miles a day to do it, and I was quite happy. I was just happy to be in the US, you know what I mean? Going to school and doing that. So, but I've been through some serious tough times, but builds adversity and all that good stuff. So, but no, at that time it was just, and I kind of went into, I wanted to join a band too, right? So at that time I applied to an ad in a newspaper is what I did for the first time on this too. Just showed up, this standard ad where it's like looking for singer, musical influences are the following kind of thing,
Nice.
That's where that was random ad, and it worked out there too.
Yeah, you fronted a rap rock band. How was that experience? Like, just like, I don't know, with adding like rapping to your repertoire.
Well, so
did they have a rapper?
No, I was there. Like, and again, so I'm, this is as Papa Roach breaking and all that. So to be honest, that was the kind of musical scene at the time. I mean, I played festivals when Papa Roach had I remember playing I was at a show where Linkin Park were opening for two locals in Minneapolis, and Chester was walking around with a clipboard and a handwritten, he's getting everybody's emails, and this is prior to them even having a single out. Now, 3 to 4 or 5 months later, their first single came out and they blew up, and they were doing arenas for the last 20 years. But I remember him going around trying to get people's email addresses for the mailing list, so they were grinding at the time too, and they weren't getting any traction until that single hit. So, but yeah, it's crazy. I mean, just that was the time when the industry was, people are selling them a million records, and there's a lot of money around, and people were doing demo deals, and they'd get $50,000 for a demo deal, all those kind of things, which don't happen anymore, so there's, that was a time when, you talk to Moose and the boys when they were in Bullet. I think they spent like $100,000 on their first video, You know what I mean? Tears Don't
Yeah.
Fall. I think $100,000 budget just for the video. And so it's just the world is a different place right now. With streaming, and so I think the world's changed, and there's a lot of bands have so much more ability to get access and get the exposure these days where you never would have had then unless you had a label or something like that. But at the same time, it's also impacted it in a negative way too. So
yeah, it's like anybody can find you, but you're competing with a million bands these days, and people's attention spans on music is so limited that putting out 12 songs, it's so difficult to get somebody to sit and just listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at kind of the label strategy or just overall strategy with music right now, people are putting out more singles versus the album, right? Yeah. So obviously we've announced our new album coming out, but we've had singles coming out at the same time too. So we're doing a blended version of that. I still love it. I used to love, my favorite thing was picking up a new CD, and I would read the inlay from front to back, and I just even to the thanks to production and who produced it and all that, that was part of the experience. You know what I mean? And you kind of with all the streaming now, which is awesome, but it's also you lose that a little bit. It's you lose being a part of something like that. And that's a shame, and people don't always buy as many CDs anymore. But we have vinyl coming out for this new record, which I'm pumped because everybody keeps asking for vinyl, and now we have it. So it's going to be pretty sweet.
Let's jump ahead a little bit. How'd you end up in Throw the Fight?
Throw the Fight. So I Throw the Fight I was in because I had previous couple bands, and I worked with James Harley and Matt Kirkwood, the producers out of Minneapolis. James Harley, he actually just engineered the most recent Korn record. He's based out of LA now. But anyway, I'd from previous stuff I'd done with those guys, it was super funny too, because James was texting me, and I hadn't spoken to him in a couple of years, and he kept trying to get me to try out, and I'm like, I thought it was actually somebody else, so I kept ignoring the text, and finally he's like, dude, I'm trying to get you a tryout for this band. They got a record deal. Are you gonna respond back to me? I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize it was you. So I went down and went down to his studio. I demoed out they had a record deal. The label were looking to switch the singer out, to be honest. And so I demoed a song. It was called The Wreckage, and that was actually the first single the band had, and it was the first song I demoed for them. So, and it worked out really well. Still really good friends with a couple of the original guys. Still see them quite a bit. So, that was a great experience. I mean, we had 3 albums out, a couple of EPs, and the reason I got to meet the guys in Bullet was through opening an arena tour with those guys. So it's a pretty cool experience.
Yeah. Let's talk about Kill the Lights. How did this project come together? I mean, it's got a lot of people from across the scene in different genres. Yeah.
So we, going back to the initial phases of it, Moose actually randomly posted on Facebook and kind of said, "Hey, do I know any good singers anywhere?" I kind of messaged him and said, "I don't have them good, but I'm like, what's it all about?" I sent him a private message. He's like, "Yeah, I'm looking, I've parted ways with Bullet, and I'm looking to, me and Jordan from Still Remains are looking to, we've got some 4 or 5 songs we put together here, and just looking for some people to kind of put some demos on it, so went into the studio with my friend Ian Combs that did a lot of pre-production stuff for the Kill the Light stuff now in Minneapolis, and The Faceless was the first demo I ever sent them. It's pretty much the exact form it's in right now on the record, So Moose got back to me. He's like, "It's pretty good. Give me a couple more, So I think I demoed out 3 or 4 more songs, and then we all got, me, Jordan, and him got together in Grand Rapids, where Jordan lives, and Moose flew out and did some writing sessions for about a week. and then looped in kind of Travis as well. Chris Clancy, who produced and engineered pretty much both the last records with Colin. Chris had toured with Travis and had a great relationship with him, and Travis is a machine at the shred. So Trav, again, same thing, just put a couple solos on what we got, and everybody's like, dude, that's it. That's the jam right there. So we all collectively kind of got together, and collectively as that full piece, it was really in studio with Colin when we finalized everything. You know what I mean? So, and we had that record written and done, completed, mixed, everything. And that's when we teamed up with the Fearless Records. You know what I mean? So, Fearless have been phenomenal too. Just super supportive, super supportive.
Yeah, it's a great label. How'd you get connected with them?
Ryan Richards was our manager at the time. Ryan manages Sleep Token and multiple other bands. He was the one that connected him with Jonathan Rigo. He had a good connection with the A&R guy at Fearless. And just kind of went from there. They love kind of what we're doing. They felt like kind of the sound we have was nothing like other bands they have on the label, which is good. So, like I say, I could not say anything more positive about that record label, just with everything they've supported us with, everything they've done. We kind of rolled into that first record and COVID hit, right? So we probably couldn't pick a worse time to try and break a first album for a new band, but like I say, they stuck with us and have always been supportive and super supportive through this second record. And like I say, very, very good stuff there. Yeah. Album
comes out in August of 2020. Was there like a delay to get it to August, or was there talks about pushing it even more? Was it just like, it's done, we got to get it out there?
It's I think we'd initially talked about. I think it was probably supposed to come out 6 months before that initially, right? And that's just as would have been within months of when COVID kicked in, and then there's only so long you want to continue pushing it back. And it's like we got to the point where it's like, look, we don't know how long this is going to last. Let's get the record out. We'd already demoed up 10 new songs, I think, at that point for the next record. It took about, 3/4 of a year to negotiate the deal in the first place, I think. So, we'd had the record sitting for a year when, it's just like, let's just get on with it. Like, we don't want to be 3 years after the record was done. Right. You know what I mean? So, we just let's just, throw all the cards at the wall and get after it a little bit and continue. Let's get focusing on writing the second record. So.
New album's called Death Melodies. Where'd that title come from?
It was actually a song title that I'd had for one of the demos, and I suggested to the boys, I'm like, that'd be I think that'd be a sweet, when you take kind of just the lyrical content, you take kind of just the whole vision for what the record was. I think it'd be, I think this could be a really cool album title, and it really, it's kind of supposed to be, the whole record really is like a soundtrack to everybody's life, in the sense of we all go through ups and downs, we all go through struggles. Like, I don't care who it is, where your age, where you live, your socioeconomic status, like we all deal with a lot of the same stresses and issues in life, and life is a battle. We go through those highs and we go through those lows, and this is a kind of just imagine that soundtrack to the Death Melody is a soundtrack to from birth to death. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that story, that roller coaster in between, and that's really what this represents. I feel lyrically, it's a pretty honest record. I try to be transparent with kind of my battles with anxiety and mental health and things too, I think. And I always encourage people to talk about it, but sometimes I'll be honest too. I'm not the best at talking about it, right? Like I kind of tend to keep things in. Like probably like the most honest I am is through my lyrics, you know. But then kind of a bit of it in a shell sometimes. Other than that, so when we talk about my ability to have a musical outlet, I think this is a place where I let it all out. You know, like that's about as the most honest I am is through my lyrics, and it's a space that kind of creates, probably healing for myself is what I'm doing right there. Yeah. You know, like, So I think this has been it's a bit of a journey in this, for sure. And, it's a topic I keep coming back to because that's the kind of the place I'm living at mentally, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Music is a good outlet and like therapy for some people, but like, I know like even as like, I've had some really tough experiences with therapists, and sometimes you'll just listen to a song that'll speak to you and you'll be like, oh, I connect with this in a way where I was not connecting and feeling something talking to somebody else. So it's like it's this two-way street of an outlet for you and somebody else is receiving it, and like and
like I say, it's even on the first record we had a lot of people reaching out just talking about how they connected with the lyrics, right? And at the end, like just looking back to when I was 15 years old and what I connected with, it was just bands that are with lyrics that are transparent and they talk to you, right? And they kind of help you through those battles of the teen years. That's what I think we all do that. Yeah. We're all attracted to that.
Yeah. Talk to me about the concept for the album artwork, because it's a very stripped down cover art as compared to like Sinner, which has had a really bold graphic and art style.
Yeah, we went through a few different concepts actually with it. We kind of started off and we had a book, kind of a book created, like if you look at that front cover, black with the gold on it, was that we had a book kind of created.
Okay.
And it had Death Melodies. It was kind of like the storybook, right? A literal story, like kind of that vibe. And we tried to do some different photo shoots with that to kind of create the visual. And it just wasn't there. And at the end of the day, Moose was like, look, let's just go just bold, go just black. Yeah. Let's just go, you know what I mean? Like, it's got a bit of that, just honestly, a bit of that, old school thrash, Metallica, whatever you want to call it, vibe. It is direct. It is what it is, right? Without trying to sugarcoat anything is what that is doing. So I think that's what we've gone for there, and I think it works. All the artwork throughout it is representative of that, and we have more singles coming out soon that really continue the storyline of this album artwork and visual and the book and everything else too. So
nice. Album's out March 8th. Are you guys looking to try to tour this year, or is it like difficult? You're a father of people have kids and lives and wives and jobs, right?
Yeah, we will be touring. And that will be announced very soon. No, I mean, like I said, we're just really excited to get out there, get on the road, kind of get to meet people. After the COVID years, we didn't get a chance to fully push that, and now the plan is to really get after it pretty hard. So we got a lot of things in the works here, plenty of announcement things prior to the album coming out that are going to kind of really help push everything. And like I say, we can't wait to get in front of people and play these new tunes and just get to meet our fans and hang out a little bit.
Yeah, even though this is your second record, does it feel like really an introduction of the band? Because this is really the first like album cycle where you get to be out there and tour and be with people.
Yeah, it feels like we're gonna get to do it right this time. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we've been waiting plenty long enough to kind of really get after it, and like I say, we're all super excited about the announcements coming up, the record. We're super. We just really feel like this. The second record here is just kind of an evolution of all those guys coming together to create the one sound versus the first record, which I think was great, but it was everybody finding our way a little bit.
Wow.
And now it's just kind of taking the best of everybody. You know what I mean? And you melt those guys together, and I feel like we've kind of found a sound.
Thanks for listening to As the Story Grows. Our intro music was written and composed by Jeremy Hunt. The As the Story Grows theme is by Bob Nana. If you like what you hear, subscribe wherever you get your podcast and give us a rating and review. If you'd like to support the show financially, you can join us at patreon.com/asthestorygrows. Be a part of our community and join the ongoing conversation over on Discord. If you enjoy this episode, share it on social media with your friends. Much appreciated, and thanks for listening.
I never felt so young and alive as when I'm diving into a